hope you guys are using predicting skills, because here he is with his dog on the island, and this is on the island. So far he has seen no people on this island, which he was kind of sad because he'd be really lonely, but he was kind of happy because if they were his enemies, that would not be good for him. Well, let's find out who put this on the island. The wind from the sea swept up around him, its voice warm and soft and reassuring in his ear. Maui, god of the fishermen, had heard and answered. Mufasa decided that before he retract his steps to his own beach, he would explore the opposite side of the island. The trail dropped from the plateau in a series of swift turns and spirals. The boy clambered down, slipping and sliding, catching hold of a roots and vine to keep from falling. Far below, a cool, dark stream wound its way through a sheltered valley. Perhaps in the valley he would find some people. At the base of the ancient crater, long ridges of lava descend to the valley. Of a sudden, Mufasa remembered an old tale out of his childhood. He had been told how the youth of Tahiti slid down the lava slides on sleds of giant leaves. The thought had scarcely struck him before he was wrenching off a half-dozen great leaves of a nearby banana tree. Boy, they've got banana trees there and everything. Even as he did so, he stopped, suddenly alert. They were splendid trees, 3 times his own height, with broad leaves that waved in the wind like tattered banners. But what caught and held his attention were the stems where fruit had grown. They had been severed cleanly by a knife. His heart gave a thump and hung fire. He examined the stem with care. Tree after tree had been stripped of fruit, and within a week, too. Who had cut the bananas? Well, he'd have to find out. His lips were grim as set, making his sled. He bound the leaves together with a fibrous rope of vine, and soon had a toboggan as long as his body. With Mufasa reached the lava slide, he set the sled in place and flung himself down upon it. With a shout and a shove, he was off. Down the natural slide he sped at terrifying speed. Trees whizzed past. Wind drove the air from his nostrils. The valley rushed to meet him. He brought up with a bump in the thicket of a kasai. As he extracted himself from the thorns, he was still breathing with excitement. Aye, but what? That was fun. He did not stop to think how he would regain the plateau, meaning how would he get back up the mountain. For at that moment his eyes fell upon a broad, well-defined path leading down through the jungle. Aye, he exclaimed, this fine trail was never made by the feet of wild pigs. The boy stood there, irresolute and uncertain. Some premonition of danger kept him poised, alert and weary. He was half tempted to retrace his way and explore no farther. Then an overpowering desire to know who had made that path urged him onward. The trail led towards the sea, widening as it went. Soon it opened into a clear circle some 100 feet in circumference. Involuntarily, Mufasa started forward, then drew back with a sharp cry. What he beheld filled him with awe, and it set him trembling. He saw a series of wide stones terraced, rising in a pyramid many feet high, and on top of this pyramid a grotesque idol, hideously ugly, reared in the brilliant sunshine. Re-aired in the brilliant sunshine. It was an ancient idol. Its contour softened with fungus and lichens, corroded by the rains of age. The roots of the convolvulus writhed about this base. No wind reached this hidden circle. The insects hummed in the hot air. Mufasa felt that he was stifling. His heart pounded. A mare, a sacred place. Scarcely daring to breathe, He advanced a step. Then he drew up short. Around the base of the idol, he saw piles of bones, charred but not old. The platform was strewn with them. Bones too large for dogs, too large for pigs. And then Mufatu understood. His heart congealed. This was a Motu Tabu, a forbidden island where the eaters of men made their terrible sacrifices to the Varua on Noah. So here are the steps, the terrace steps, and then here's that statue. Mufatu stood rooted, unable to advance, powerless to flee. Yuri slunk at his side, growling low, his hair on his neck lifting stiffly. Involuntarily, the boy looked up through an opening in the tree. The cloud cone of the smoking island floated on a wine-colored sea. Could that distant island be the home of the savages who used this Motu Tabu for their place of sacrifice? Was it here that they came in their black canoes to turn the night hideous with their drums and their ceremonies and leaping fires? Mufatu shivered. He had believed that Maui Gata the fisherman had led him safe to this island, but perhaps, after all, it had been only a cruel prank of Moana. The sea god, angry at having been cheated, the boy seemed to hear Moana saying, someday, Mufatu, I will claim you. But not today, because that's all the farther we're going to go. We'll catch it tomorrow.